Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So today is actually Tuesday. Did not feel like updating you yesterday, but that's okay. We are imperfect people here. But yes, today is Tuesday, July 9th, and I'm doing okay. Yesterday was Monday. Yesterday and today I've had pretty good days at work. And I'm kind of like on top of things for the moment, knock on wood. And I have read an audiobook, like basically half yesterday and half today. So I have been working on Hello Forever by Sarina Bowen, which is the second book in this duology, and I read the first book, Goodbye Paradise, in June. So I wanted to just kind of continue that and knock it out. So in this book we follow, this is a contemporary romance between two male main characters. In the first book, it was two guys who basically grew up in like a cult, like in a religious kind of cult where being gay was not acceptable at all. And so the two characters like left and or were thrown out in that book, and then that story is sort of the two of them basically are always been in love with each other and sort of how they enter the world, find their way, etc. In this book, those two characters have managed to buy a house and they're renting out a room, which is where one of our main characters from this book. So there is those characters from the first book, Caleb and Josh, do show up in this book, so that's why I'm talking about it. But in this book, we're following Axel and Caxton. That's annoying, right? So he frequently goes by Cax. And now I don't think that they ever really shortened Axel's name. I think his mom maybe calls him like Axie or something maybe once, but I'm pretty sure Axel calls Caxton Caxie maybe once or twice. I don't know. There was more than once because I was listening to it on audio where I was like, who? Like, wait, what? Who said that? Which person? But it's fine. It's fine. Basically, the premise for this book is that Axel and Caxton knew each other as kids. They both grew up in Ohio and were part of like church camp and stuff together. And so they only got to see each other during church events and became really good friends, as close as you could get for only getting to see each other a handful of times every year. And both of them independently realize that they are gay. They both independently start to have crushes on the other person. And then the year that they are 16, they kind of fool around at church camp, but they're caught. And this causes a huge blow up, especially in Caxton's family. Axel's mom is kind of like, oh, sweetie, like you're good. And then Axel never sees Caxton again. And at the part of this book where the book picks up is 6 or 7 years later. They're like 22, and Axel is considering taking this job in another state where he would be a sports media manager. He's watching the college basketball stream and he sees Caxton in the audience, and he's like, well, that sort of clinches it. I'm going to accept this job. And so Axel moves because this is a job opportunity, but also because he's hopeful that Caxton will really be there. And so the problem is that Caxton's family, his father, is very homophobic and very anti-gay, and he is abusive to Caxton's younger siblings, the 3 younger brothers. So Caxton has to like walk this line, and he's never been able to be out, or it's not been acknowledged, and he's like basically had like a fake girlfriend for years, and he is just not in a position at all to be out in any way or to have a relationship in any way. So the two of them meet up and the feelings basically reignite, and they have to kind of navigate this situation where Cax is not able to be out, and what are they going to do about it? Overall, I thought this was fine. I thought it was like a little bit too short. I felt like there was not that I really want to see like homophobia and trauma and that kind of thing on page, but like it felt to me kind of like nonsensical as to like why the dad was like, I mean, it's not nonsensical. It is nonsensical why anyone would be homophobic, but like, I don't know, there was some element of like the dad is like, and he's a crazy homophobe, The end. That was like his entire personality. And so, not that he had to have a personality, but you know, I was a smidgen frustrated with like the conflict of this book. I was also frustrated because this is basically sort of like a second chance romance, because the two of the guys like knew each other from 6 years previously when they were 16 and before, earlier than that. And that was like the last time that they ever communicated or interacted. And so very quickly, once they meet up and start talking again in this book, they're like, oh, I love you, and like all those feelings are still there. And that's not a trope that I care for, because I want to see my characters falling in love. I want to understand why they're in love. And we didn't get to see enough of them like in their childhood and being good friends with each other to understand the basis of their friendship and how like deeply they know each other. So yeah, overall this was fine. Definitely trigger warnings for homophobia and like a hate crime, violence, that kind of thing. It definitely was heavy, but also, like, I'm going to go ahead and put spoiler tags here and like just talk for a couple seconds, but spoiler warning, if you don't want to know, then skip ahead to this timestamp. There is, partway through this book, after Caxton and Axel have like hung out a few times and been intimate and are like basically having like a secret pseudo relationship, Axel is beaten up for being gay. Like, he has a hate crime. And Caxton is like, okay, well, this has to end. And he just like does a 180 in his life and is kind of like, I can't, like, I'm open, I'm out, I'm good. Like, it sort of felt like all of that was kind of like wrapped up a little too quickly or too neatly. I don't know. I would have been fine with like another 100 pages of this book, just to kind of explain a little bit more, take a little bit more time and effort and energy into like inputting these characters, like time and effort to get to know each other again. Like, it's one thing to feel totally comfortable with this person that you haven't seen in 6 years. It's another thing to be like, oh, I assume you're a different person at 22, having finished college and moving on. And, you know, Axel's had multiple relationships and been with guys and stuff since then. Like, I feel like you're a different person at 22 than you are at 16. And so for the fact that they were able to just pick up where they, like, you know, as if nothing had ever changed, I was kind of like, okay, I just wanted a little bit more there. So overall, this was like perfectly nice, perfectly reasonable. It's just like a 3-star instead of a 4 or higher. So yeah. Now, I did not have, this was something that I was thinking about. I was hoping that I would just magically pull a card for to fit. But currently I have 2 cards that are pending. I have 3 of Swords, which is a book that you think will make you cry. And I intend to read Gravity. And I realized that I have like Gravity and this book that I was just talking to you about, which are both like male-male romances. So maybe I should like hold off on Gravity for at least a day or two. And then I have the 5 of Wands, which is featuring a competition or a like conflict amongst characters. And I think I was saying in last week's vlog that I felt like that I don't have anything out for featuring a competition, and I just kind of want to like pull another card and keep going. And also this week, the prompt for the significator prompt is to read a book that features animals in some way, and like nothing I have checked out has anything to do with that. Now, oh, except my cover of Yours Truly has a dog on it. So I think if I manage to read that this week, that will count. But otherwise, I think it's out. So I probably won't be earning very many major arcana points. But side note, I will say I've been pulling cards almost every single day. I've missed one day so far for the personal hero's journey reflection every day. And like multiple of my cards are talking about how I like, you know, have scattered energy and need to prioritize, time to slow down and organize things. So I'm feeling like I maybe just need to like take things easy and chill with this readathon. I'm not gonna like try to like go so hard. So right now I'm gonna hit pause. I'm gonna pull a tarot card. I'm going to see if that magically seems to fit for Hello Forever. And if not, then I'll just tell you what it is, and I will probably end up using 5 of Wands. But hold the thought. Okay, so I've just shuffled the tarot deck. I'm going to pull a card and we're going to look at the prompt. The card is 8 of Pentacles. The art is super pretty. It's like rainbowy and it looks like a person sitting at like a desk. I don't know, I can't really tell. These look like just like bowls of like spices and stuff, but then this is like a paper and quill and it like sort of desk supplies. I'm not really sure, but the 8 of Pentacles card prompt, 8 of Pentacles, is to read a book where a character learns a new skill or has art in it. Okay, so yes, 8 of Pentacles. a book that has art in it, or a book that a character learns a new skill. I don't feel like the book that I just finished, Hello Forever, really fits that prompt. Oh, that's not true. The one guy teaches the other guy how to cook. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and count Hello Forever for the 8 of Pentacle cards. And I'm just going to go ahead and submit that for tonight. And then I still will have the other 2 card prompts that I mentioned. I'm leaving things open a little bit to potentially find a book that like features a competition, but if not, I'll just slot a romance into that spot. And there you go. There's my update. I am tired and I'm going to work on heading to bed. So hopefully that wasn't like too rambly or annoying, but I'm going to try to like cut back a little bit, both for editing me and for your benefit. So there we go. Hi, hello. It is Wednesday. I am home from work and I've just been sitting and chilling and relaxing and reading. It is raining on and off, so if you hear some background rain drip drop noises, that's what's going on. I just wanted to give you an update because I currently have 3 cards pulled for the Tarot Readathon and I have 3 reads going / chosen. And I haven't talked about this yet, so I'm telling you now. So, 2 cards you already know about. The first is the 5 of Wands, which is a book that features some sort of competition or the characters have conflict, you know, amongst themselves. And for this, I have chosen, or I would like to read The Prospects by K.T. Hoffman. I've seen this going around BookTube, Bookstagram, etc., BookTok, and I think it's a debut novel. And I've heard nothing but good things. So it sounds kind of interesting. We have, I think it's a male romance, like a trans guy and another guy who doesn't realize that he's gay, ? I don't know. It has to do with sports. It has to do with baseball. I don't know a ton about baseball, but I've seen good buzz about this book. I thought, okay, there has to be some sort of like competition amongst baseball, you know? So, okay, cool. So I think that'll be interesting. I have the ebook checked out. I've been on hold for a minute, so I need to read that before it expires, but I actually have not technically started it yet. The second card that you also know about is the 3 of Swords, which is read a book that you think will make you cry. And for this, I have chosen Gravity by Tal Bauer. I have this checked out on Kindle Unlimited. I have the ebook, and I am 15% of the way into this book. I started it today. It is reading very quickly. This is also a male sports romance. This is hockey. So we are, so far in the first 15%, we are following our 2 main characters, Bryce and Hunter. Bryce is like a hockey all-star, like amazing player, very famous, is known to be really good at the sport, is actually Hunter's like hero. I think they have like 4 years of age difference between them. And Hunter was inspired by Bryce and, you know, has always loved to skate and like has used Bryce as sort of his inspiration throughout his career. And Hunter is a really good player, but is not on a very good team. Whereas Bryce is a really good player who's also on a really good team. Like they could potentially win the Stanley Cup this year for the first time in like 20 years. But so a couple things. Bryce is French Canadian and sprinkles a lot of French in, and I'm really enjoying that element. I think the even the internal narration that is in English, when we're in Bryce's point of view, there are certain like turns of phrase that I think, oh, okay, like that even feels somehow French. I don't know if it's just me projecting. I am not personally French, but I just feel like I just feel that way. So it's interesting. And Bryce, from my perspective, seemed like it's been written that he very clearly like is having something kind of going on. He keeps feeling this fear or this encroaching sensation. And I was not really sure exactly what that was meaning. I think that Bryce is gay, but like doesn't want that to be public or doesn't want to acknowledge that amongst him, like inside himself. So I'm not sure if that is what's going on. I'm not sure if he is having a lot of anxiety but is trying not to let it show because he just like feels like if he is showing anxiety, then like he won't do as well. I don't know. There's something going on lurking there. Hunter Hunter and Bryce are meeting for the first real time, because they both have been invited to play at this amazing all-star weekend whatever trip in Vegas. So when Bryce approaches him and is friendly, Hunter's like, oh my God, my hero. And he's like starstruck. And from Hunter's point of view, he's just like hero worship. And he's just like, oh my gosh, like Bryce is talking to me, and Bryce is like showing me how to like do this play on the ice. And like Bryce is such a cool guy, and I'm just like fumbling all my words. There really hasn't been any indication in this first 15% like from Hunter about anything else about his personality yet. So yeah, I'm interested. Talbauer's writing is great. It's flowing easily. I'm intrigued. This book is definitely significantly shorter than the previous one, the one that I read last year, but I'm enjoying it so far. And that I don't know if it'll make me cry, but I feel like it could. Like, I feel like Talbauer rides that line between like angst and like deep emotion. So we shall see. And then I actually pulled the Knight of Swords, not just once, and actually honestly not just twice. I pulled the Knight of Swords, I think in last week's vlog, and I kind of struggled with it for a day or two. And then ultimately I was like, I don't really know what to read for this prompt. The prompt that goes with the Knight of Swords is to read a book where the character is like on a quest or on a mission. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. So I used the Wand's ability and substituted in a romance book. I think actually a male contemporary romance book for the first pull of Knight of Swords. And then when it was time to pull another card, I think I had pulled the Three of Swords. I think when I was like trying to get the like Five of Wands, I pulled the Knight of Swords again. And I was like, no, I don't like, I literally just like can't like didn't use this prompt. I don't want it again. So I just shuffled and I'm ready to grab this card right now and just hold it up and we will figure it out right now. So here goes. It is Knight of Swords. I literally already pulled this card. And I thought it was kind of weird that it had shown up so quickly. And I was like, you know what? Like 1 out of 78, that's got to happen sporadically, right? And then that same night, like that same day that I was like doing that, 20 minutes later, I was like, oh, I have to do my daily pull of the day. And every time that I'm like every single time before I pull a card, I shuffle at least 3 times, if not closer to 5 or 6 times, the whole deck. And it's not like a perfect shuffle. And I did my daily tarot pull and it was the Knight of Swords. Like I even inspected the card to make sure that it wasn't like bent or had something sticky on it, or like that there was some reason why it was coming up. And I was just like, okay, universe. Okay. So I went ahead and like sort of used that for my personal pull that day. But I had decided that I didn't really want to do that prompt again for the cards, for the polls, for my minor, you know, what decides my books, right? And then today I started listening to a book that is for my book club for next week in my personal book club, and I realized that this is a great book for that prompt. So I'm resurrecting this card. I feel like maybe it was meant to be, even though I was dismissive of it. So for the Knight of Swords card, for the prompt of a book where the character has a quest or a mission, I am reading, and I started today, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And I am 30% of the way into the audiobook for this book. Now, I will say, the audiobook version that I have is narrated by Michael Kramer, who is actually the person who narrated the audiobooks that I listened to for a number of the Wheel of Time books. So it took the first, I don't even know how long, half an hour of this audio for me. And even so, like sometimes it still kind of flares up. I have to keep reminding myself that this is not Wheel of Time, that like just because his voice sounds familiar, that like it's a separate thing. And so far, I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's going faster than I sort of expected. And I think it's interesting, and there's a lot of like action and a lot of activity that has happened. Yeah. So the premise for this book is our main character is Tress, and she has lived her whole life on the Rock, this like island in the middle of a sea, but it's not the sea that's made of water. This sea is made of spores, and the spores come from the moon. and they're like 12, 7 plus, I think maybe 12 moons that like dump their spores around the world. And so you could like sail from one color sea to like another colored sea because that moon is dumping those color spores and they have different abilities. I haven't really figured that part out yet, but Tress lives on an island that is in the middle of the Emerald Sea, this like, you know, this sea of spores. And the spores they don't hurt you necessarily, but they are like activated when they come in contact with water or like liquid. And so it wouldn't hurt you for them to just sit over there, but if they like touch your eyeballs or your mouth, like then they are activated or whatever. So the ones that Tress lives in like magically whatever. I'm not gonna like go into too much detail. Basically, she has to leave the place where she's from to like go out on a quest. She's trying to find somebody, and along the way it's turning into very like swashbuckling pirates kind of a situation. And I don't know. The thing I was about to say a minute ago is that there's definitely a narrative voice of this book. Like the book is told, it's not in second person, but it does address the reader. Like it breaks that fourth wall multiple times. Like the narrator is also interspersing like their own opinions and talking to you, the reader, like sporadically, while the narrator tells of this story, if that makes sense. I don't know what viewpoint that is, but the voice of that character or like who this character is, I don't know. I don't love that element. I mean, I think it's interesting and I think it's kind of cool to have a voice like that, but also, I don't know. It's like a little, I don't want to say grating, but like, I don't know. There's like certain turns of phrase or there's certain elements of like, it sort of feels like, it almost feels right now to me personally, like as if I'm hearing this story being told from this mysterious narrator character. And like, the more that they interject and talk, they sound pretty interesting. And it almost makes me feel like, well, why are you telling me this story about Tress? Like, can we just like turn this into an interview? Like, I want to hear more about you. And I feel like there's certain areas or topics or what have you, where the narrator is sort of like expounding upon, and there's other areas where the narrator doesn't bother to do that, which makes total sense for somebody telling you a story. But as a reader, it feels like, I'm like, well, what does that mean? Like, what is that? So I don't know. I'm enjoying it overall. I guess I hadn't quite realized that it was young adult. Maybe I did know that, but like, I don't know. I just knew it was like a fantasy standalone, and that's how it got recommended for a book club. But I'm 30% of the way in. It has gotten well underfoot. I have a very strong suspicion that by the end of the book, when Tress manages to get where she's trying to go and find what she's trying to find, that she's going to basically no longer be like, I think it could go either way. I think that like a very classic thing would be like, oh, I've actually grown as a person, and like I no longer like, it was about the journey, not about the destination. Like the ultimate goal that I've been pushing myself towards this whole time, like is actually not relevant anymore. I feel like that's pretty common or would be understood. I think it might be interesting to subvert those expectations, but also like based on the fact that she's trying to find like a guy, like, I don't know. So there's my update. That's a lot of updating, but I wanted to tell you sort of what's been going through my head and what I've been working on. For the rest of the evening today, I am going to be doing a little bit more reading. I'm going to be continuing in Gravity. And so I probably will continue making more progress in Gravity, and I have to go do grocery shopping. But yeah, so I just wanted to give you, keep you abreast of the situation. Hi. Okay, so it is late Thursday night, and I just wanted to give you a little update of what I read today. So I did read another, 15 to 20% or so of Tress of the Emerald Sea, listen to that audiobook at work, and I don't know, I'm having a lot of like thoughts and feelings about it. So it's a good thing that it's a book club book, but I also think that I'm just going to go ahead and make a single book vlog review kind of video, so keep an eye out for that. But in summary, I'm close to the 50% mark, close to the 45-50%, somewhere in there, and the plot continues, the plot thickens. We've learned a lot of stuff just kind of pretty recently that is kind of confusing. So I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of like ambivalent. I do think that the audiobook is coloring that opinion a little bit. So I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on Tress of the Emerald Sea. But last night I got to sort of the same spot, like 45-ish% in Gravity by Tal Bauer, and it is so good. I think I already said it's male hockey romance, contemporary, and our two guys kind of like meet at the start of the book. Hunter has always looked up to Bryce and considers Bryce his like hero, and Bryce and Hunter spend a whole bunch of time together not long after they meet in this like kind of like a whirlwind Vegas weekend where they're both playing in the all-star hockey game. And I don't want to give away too much more plot, but there is sort of, I don't want to give away anything else, but it like Tal Bauer just writes really well big emotions. Like I feel like the angst is angsting, but like the hope and the joy, but also this longing it's all there. I feel like he has put in sort of like a longing, not maybe quite pining, but sort of, yeah, like longing, pining in each of the books that I've read from him so far. And it's so good. I just eat it up. So I am really thoroughly enjoying this. I'm interested to see where these characters and their story is going to go. I do admit that I wanted a little bit more development emotionally between them. I think that we get a lot of, they basically spend a bunch of time together over the course of that like all-star weekend, but like so many of those interactions are like, and we pass the next 3 hours like connecting on every level, and the conversation flows so easily. And part of me kind of wishes this book was 600 pages and that we were getting more of those conversations, because I think it's a slight missed opportunity for the reader to get to know the characters and for the us to see the characters like falling for each other or like getting to know each other, right? Instead it's slightly glossed over, and I want like a little bit more of that. But I really do feel like the emotions are just like so present there on the page, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So I stayed up too late to read that book, and even though it's already kind of late tonight, I'm going to be definitely reading a little bit more tonight as well, because it's so good, and it's I really want to see what's going to be happening between these two main characters. So there you go. There's an update for Thursday. Keep an eye out, like I said, for a vlog. I'm gonna try to film that next, and that's sort of all the update that I really have for you right now. I had a productive day at work. And then I also had a productive evening here because I like cooked and got some stuff done around the house that I needed to do. Finished editing a video that's going to be going live tomorrow on Friday. And it's from the first week of July, and I talk a lot, so I'm like really cutting back this week, so this vlog should be shorter. But yeah, so it was good to kind of get that going. And also Ben and I have a vacation upcoming, and we got some stuff booked for that, so that's good. Otherwise, I feel like I'm in a pretty good spot. You already know what cards I have pulled and what those prompts are and what I'm reading for them, so I'm going to end this update here. Hi. Okay, so yesterday was Friday, and I had a pretty good day. I was relatively productive at work and got both a lot of work done, but also was able to listen to a nice big chunk of Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'm now at about 70-ish%, and I'm still liking. I'm liking it. Asterisk. I think that I am now used to the like narrative voice and the choice of having this narrator who's telling the story. I'm still not loving it, but I'm now much more used to it. I think that I'm engaged with the story, but I'm not like enthralled with the story. I do think Tress is sort of an interesting main character. I feel like she is not like other girls in that she doesn't want to go out and be a hero and have an adventure, and she's a practical thinker, So you'll definitely have to check out my vlog for like more complete thoughts. But I feel like the last chunk of the book, most recently, has kind of slowed down a little bit. There's been a lot more thinking and planning and experiments and sort of just, it's sort of a little bit like the travel part in D&D where you're like, well, we have to get from point A to point B, and like maybe some stuff will happen along the way, but like we can kind of like, and over the next couple of days, skim through a little bit of time. So I'm still enjoying it. I have that book club on Monday, so I'm going to have to finish it over the weekend for book club. And I do have the book checked out through Libby as well as audiobook, so I don't know how I'm going to kind of finish it out because I don't tend to listen to audiobooks when I'm home. But maybe I'll get out like my Diamond Dots painting again. I could work a little bit on that maybe tomorrow. Otherwise, I didn't really get much else done reading-wise yesterday. After work, I came home and just had an opportunity to chillax for a bit. I was watching BookTube, which I feel like I don't get very many chances to do, and was just kind of on YouTube because I was waiting for a phone call from one of my best friends in the whole world. She is a few time zones behind me, so had to wait for her to get out of work. But then she and I talked for 6.5 hours. Which was great. It was long overdue. I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've had like a good long phone call. We usually send each other long messages on WhatsApp, and it's wonderful. I value her so much as a person, and like, this friendship in my life. And she and I went on like years ago, like went on a cruise together and just talked the whole time. And she called me, or I called her a couple days later, literally like the next weekend, and we talked for like 5 hours. Like, it's that kind of relationship where it doesn't matter if we just spent a whole 72 hours together, we can always find stuff to talk about. So I value her, and that's what I was doing until 2 a.m. So yeah, that was sort of my Friday, and then now today is Saturday. I'm going to probably go out to lunch and do some grocery shopping and stuff, because tonight I'm having a game night with some friends, and the house is pretty much ready. I just gotta like vacuum essentially, but I do want to make a nice dessert. Otherwise, that's sort of the plan. I don't know. I do want to try to read something today. I try to read something every day. And I'm currently at just dropped my phone. I don't even know, like a 35-day streak or something like that. So I want to keep that streak going. So I'm not sure what I'll get to later today, but I will come back and let you know. Hello, time for a brief update. Brief because I don't have a ton to say. I think I recorded a clip yesterday where it was basically, I think I was talking about Friday, but yeah, yesterday went well. I had like a really productive day, got a lot done around the house, little things that I'd been meaning to get to, and also had a chance to hang out with some friends and do a fun game night. So I took literally 0 pictures, 0 B-roll, and neither did anybody else. So, but we had a good time. We played a number of sort of party games, Spyfall, Uno, and what else did we play? Oh, we played Apples to Apples, and I actually was winning. I won in that game, which I was kind of surprised about. So, had a good time. So at the end of game night, people were leaving like at midnight. So I did read a little bit before bed. I got maybe another 15% of the way or so into Gravity by Tal Bauer. At this point, I'm probably around the 55 to 60% mark, and I really don't want to talk that much more about plot or anything, but yeah, our characters are definitely in this interesting part of the story where they are trying to figure out what their feelings are for the other person, or rather, they're both convinced that they are really into the other person, but like there are some logistics and stuff that's going to come up next. So I'm still enjoying it. I don't know that I have a ton more to say with only 10%-ish more complete. But then it was really late and I was tired. So I think this is the least amount that I've read in a single day in a long time. In like maybe that like 40-day streak situation. I did read, but it was not much. Today is Sunday. It's been a bit more chill. I went and saw Inside Out 2 earlier and it was good. I had expected to like bawl my eyes out, really cry a lot, and I got misty and watery a couple times, but I was able to like clear my throat and prevent that from really going all the way. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was interesting. Felt like there were certain moments where I was like, yeah, very true. Yeah, okay. And otherwise I've just kind of been chilling out. I do have book club tomorrow and we are going to be discussing Tress of the Emerald Sea. So at this exact point when I stopped to take a break and to update you, I'm at 90% progress of the book. That's what I've been working on for the last, I don't know, hour or so, maybe more than that. And I do intend to finish the book. At this point, I would say like it's kind of taken a little bit of a turn plot-wise than I sort of expected. I think that I sort of expected there to be a little bit more action at this point of the book, but it feels a smidgen, this is all I'm going to say, it feels a smidgen like in the last 5% or so, it feels a little bit like there was more here that has been like edited out and like kind of cut down. So, and maybe that's all in my head. I don't know. Definitely that's probably not, I probably won't, I don't know if I'll say any more about that, but I just wanted to give a quick update that here on Sunday, I intend to finish that book, which would be great because I don't think I've technically finished a book like this whole week. But then I can't wait to dive back into Gravity, but I definitely need to finish this Brando Sando book because we have book club tomorrow. So there is your update there. And I just wanted to let you know the situation. Hi, okay, it is Sunday night. It is rather late on Sunday night, but I am here to tell you to wrap up this vlog that I have finished 2 books today. The 2 books that I said earlier I was working on. Surprise, surprise. First I finished Tress of the Emerald Sea, and overall I was relatively satisfied with how it ended. I was not on the edge of my seat at all throughout the whole book. I felt like it was pretty neatly tied up, neatly well done. It was clever. I enjoyed my overall experience. I did a vlog where I kind of spoke a little bit more freely with spoilers included that I will have for sure linked in this video probably already. Or well, you're going to see this video before that vlog comes out because I have book club tomorrow and I want to tell you guys my like official final thoughts and feelings after I've had a book club discussion. But stay tuned because that's coming soon on my channel, and once I have that vlog up live I will include it and edit this description so you can find it in the future. But I'm glad that I read it. I thought it was interesting. I liked Brandon Sanderson's writing style well enough. I didn't super care for the narrative voice, but I think that was sort of a specific tone and choice that he made like for this book per what he wrote in the acknowledgements. So yeah, I'm glad that I was able to finish that. And that was a book that I used to satisfy the prompt of me pulling the card Knight of Swords, which the prompt was to read a book featuring a character on a mission or on a quest that very much so describes Tress. She has set out and is on a mission throughout the whole book. So I was able to use Tress of the Emerald Sea for Knight of Swords. And then I also today, the second book that I finished today is Gravity by Tal Bauer. This is the male-male hockey romance. And in this book, I was choosing to read because I drew the card 3 of Swords, which the prompt is to read a book that you think will make you cry. Now, I didn't quite cry, but I definitely was a little misty, you know, and I was like very heartwarming, heart-wrenching moments. This book, like I said, I think I've said before, I'm pretty sure I said in a previous clip, I just feel like Tal Bauer he just writes so beautifully the joy and longing and that is in his books, and they're just steeped full of love and heartwarming emotions. Actually, the last page of the book that, when I finished Gravity, the last page said about this author. Tal Bauer writes heartfelt gay romance novels. His characters are head over heels for each other and fight against all odds for their happy ending. Nothing stands in the way of love. And that is perfect. Like, yes, there are trials and tribulations in this book, the external conflict that the two characters have to work through, but it's absolutely beautifully done. So this did not quite make me cry, but I was like kind of misty, and it was absolutely touching and heartwarming. So I am able to submit that for Three of Swords. Now, both of those together are worth a fair amount of points. The minor arcana points is page count, and the page count for Tress of the Emerald Sea is 483, and the page count for Gravity is 273. So that is great. And I will say that neither of these really counted for this week's Significator card, which had, well, no, Tress of the Emerald Sea did count for this week's Significator card, because the card for Team Wands was Strength, which is to read a book that features animals in some way. And there is a talking animal in Tress of the Emerald Sea. So I was able to count that and get another point towards our major arcana, but Gravity didn't really have anything to do with animals. So that was just the minor arcana points there. But so far I am doing quite well. I have at this point pulled eight cards, and I have finished 7 books so far for the month. And the only card that I have currently like active is the Five of Wands, which I have a plan for, and we'll see how well that can be executed. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this week's vlog here. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you have read Brandon Sanderson before, and like where I should maybe potentially continue reading of his, because I don't super love the idea of wanting or of like diving into a huge big long saga. When I looked up Tress of the Emerald Sea later, I saw that it said The Cosmere number 28, and I'm just like, 28? That just seems a little intimidating. But if you have a suggestion for maybe where I should head next, then I would appreciate that. Leave that down in the comments. Otherwise, that'll be it for me for this week, and tune in next week, because basically as soon as I'm done with this clip and I say goodnight to you, I'm going to pull another tarot card and get ready for a prompt to start off the next week of July. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.